Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
The father of personal development, Jim Rohn, said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And so I've created a mastermind community called the Lion's Den around this idea that if you are surrounded by high-performing people and you have consistent education and training, then you will succeed in life and as a man. Check out kfmlion.com to learn how the Lion's Den can take your life, relationships, and business to the next level. Again, that's kfmlion.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Matthew Park, a professional bodybuilder and entrepreneur. And Matthew, it's a pleasure to have you here on the show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
All right, let's dive in. Matthew, we kickstart off every show with a favorite success quote of the guest or some sort of saying, something that really means something to them that's helped them on their journey. So what do you got for us? And then share with us why you chose that.
No problem, Andrew. Yeah, the quote that really has been with me for a long time is a familiar quote that I've kind of tweaked. And it's basically, what can be conceived in thought can be attained through action and persistent faith.
Okay, and then share with us what that means to you, how this has helped you on your journey.
Well, over the last probably 12 years, I've noticed that we can always think and visualize certain things throughout our life, and I've had many dreams, many things I've thought about, but if you don't act on them, they are nothing. But the other piece of the puzzle, because you can always act on something, is you must have the faith to follow through. Because you're always going to come with challenges and setbacks, people who say you're not going to be able to do it. But if you have the belief and faith to back it up, you can accomplish absolutely anything you want.
Wow. And so I want to learn more about how you've applied this into your journey. So let's just dive into your story. And so share with the audience how you got started with what you do, and then we'll dive into some of the lessons learned on that journey.
Of course. So right now I'm 30 years old and small farm. And by that, I mean about 100 people. And that's my town back in Alberta, Canada. It's called Acadia Valley. You can barely find that on the map. Literally, it's a dot. Grew up with cows and chickens and all that farm stuff. I'm very thankful for that opportunity because it teaches you the hardworking skills when you grow up. And from there, moved when I was 18 to California. Basically, saved money up through all the things I worked through and moved down to California to pursue my fitness endeavors. Lifted my first, my big passion over the years has been natural bodybuilding. My uncle Mike, who was one of my mentors growing up, got me into natural weightlifting when I was 12 years old. So basically, the interesting part about that is, where do you work out when the town you're living in is 100 people? So he built this workout shed on the farm made from combine and tractor parts. And we trained in this small shed on the farm. Basically, I did my first show wasn't natural. It was a non-tested show, but I was natural when I was 16 years old. And then as a bodybuilder and evolved over the years. I've always been an entrepreneur. I ran my first business when I was 13 years old. When I asked my mom for her credit card to go buy a lawnmower. And I basically got it from when I was 13 to when I was 15, I ended up cutting basically half of the town for all their grass, basically through summer. So I had about 45 or 50 lawns to cut throughout the course of my little business entrepreneurship. So that's kind of how I got going when I was a kid, and evolved from there. Moved when I was 18 to California to pursue my fitness dream. Worked down there for about just under a year at a gym as a personal trainer. I came back to Canada. Basically, over the last, when I was 18 to now, I've moved or lived in 27 different times. So my business has taken me pretty much all over North America, throughout different courses and so forth. But I went to a college when I was 19 to 21 and got my personal trainer diploma. And then I specialized in corrective movement and sport performance science, and evolved from there in training athletes and average people, and basically kind of grew it from there. So 2 businesses that kind of really have taught me a ton of lessons in life. The first business I would say was my INBF Canada, which is a natural bodybuilding, fitness, figure, and bikini competition. It's across Canada. And I started that when I was 21. And the funny part about that is I was an absolute nobody in bodybuilding and fitness, absolutely nobody. So no one even knew who I was. I had done 2 shows before. I didn't even place in those 2 shows. So it basically came down to nitty-gritty belief, and this can really make a difference. And the funny part was, at that time, I was in a relationship with a girl, and because I had no money at the time, I basically have gone through that time just unique ways and find the capital to even get that business even going. But the girlfriend at my time, when I mentioned to her, hey, I have this idea. I've had this dream when I was, the last 5 years and I was a teenager. I want to get this bodybuilding federation going. And she says, oh, that's great, but how are you going to pay for the bills next month? I says, oh, I'll find a way. And she says, Matt, don't even worry about it. Your dream is never going to work. It's never going to make any sense. So that really kind of got my juices flowing, because when someone says I can't do anything, that's when it's going to get done.
Right.
And
it's like your best motivation.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
that's one of the businesses. And so INBF is growing. It took me over 2.5 years to even get the first show going, because I did have to find the money, and I found the money and found the people to support me. Today I have some of my team members to this day were the ones that believed in me from that day forward. So, but yeah, there was a lot of setbacks in there, because the first year of that business starting, I had many other federations, emailing me saying, what are you doing? What are you wasting your time? How can you put a natural show on? How your athletes are natural? Because it was very abnormal to have a natural show at that time. That time natural bodybuilding and fitness was basically not even well known. So that's where you just had to put your shoes on and go and get her done. So that's kind of the first company. And now, we're across Canada, where our shows are growing every year. And, I've partnered with the WNBF, which is also our pro level, which is, that's worldwide. So we've done that. And the other business, which is similar concept, is called RE7, and it's a beverage company. It's a new category with my uncle. So my mentor growing up was my Uncle Mike. We had this dream when I was a teenager, and he was kind of the guy that got me going into lifting weights, and was a big influence to me. And we just wanted to take this recovery program that we used for our training and performance, because I was also powerlifting at the time, on this recovery program that no one had even heard of, that he was tweaking with me on my performance. And that's when I was going for some record lifts in squat and deadlift and bench. That was kind of, at that time, very not normal for height to weight ratios and so forth. And so we basically took this company, RE7. It never even was a beverage in the beginning. It was more of just these pills for pH and recovery that we used for our performance. And the word got out amongst people in, the province, the college universities, where we actually had like athletes contacting us for this recovery program. And it led to one of the CFL players who came to me. I helped him get his recovery back, where he tore his Achilles there. And so I basically brought him back to, full strength, and helped him with his recovery on training and on the pH recovery program. And that led to kind of our one-shot opportunity to take this recovery program to the masses, because I think I was about 22 years old at the time. And we were invited to go present to an NFL agent in the U.S., and which, we were still absolutely nobodies at that time. We never had an idea of how this was even going to go to market. We just knew it worked and it was going to make a difference. And that was our belief. And we weren't going to let that slide. So, basically Mike and I, Lorraine and Claire, packed our stuff up. We flew down for this meeting into the US with this agent. And it's funny because when we got there, of course I'm nervous as heck because, I'm like, I'm presenting. So he calls me and says, Matt, he's like, I told you I'd give you an hour. Well, I only got 5 because I got a meeting I'm already late for. So he kind of pushed and kind of tweaked my presentation completely around where I had to basically convince this guy in 5 minutes, not an hour. So long story short is that one day turned into basically our opportunity because the 5-minute meeting turned into 5 hours. And it led into other contacts in the NFL, which then led to the Drink RE7, which now we just launched in Walmart Canada this month. And
congratulations. Yeah, that's got to be a big distribution channel for you guys.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that, Andrew. It's all our teamwork and our team that's really the key cornerstones for our business. And but it just came down not never quitting, because there was obviously I'm kind of going from the beginning to the to Walmart, and there's so many stuff in between that was sort of the journey that I would say are the blessings that shaped to where we are today, and obviously the person I am today. And I obviously have never stopped learning, right?
Right. So looking back at this career, what did bodybuilding teach you about entrepreneurship? It seems like that was a platform for your growth in business.
It actually was the complete essence of it, Andrew. Natural bodybuilding, and I always stress natural because I'm very proud to say I'm natural. And I'm not a very big guy, so I would say that it shaped me because when I grew up, I was very, very small. I was built more like a runner's body. So a lean kind of gainer kind of guy. So I had to find methods to gain mass. And when I was in the teenage years and growing up and I wanted to win my pro card, in fact, I can't remember one person even said that was actually going to happen. It was only me. But basically, bodybuilding built me into the disciplines that, the routines I have today, the mindset I have today. When I go to work, I never miss a workout every day. I'm always training, doing either my jogging, my performance training, whatever. Even if I have meetings, it's the number one thing on my list to get done. And I still compete to this day at a professional stage. So it's something that really enables me to be my best self. But I'm also very spiritual as well. I do meditation every day. I journal every day, and obviously read every day. So I believe it's, for your group of men that listen to this podcast, I wrote down a list here of actually things that when I was reflecting on things that really shape being our best self, I would say your morning routine and taking care of your health and fitness and your mind, not just learning and reading books, but also getting away into nature is the essence of being a high-level man. Because if you don't do that, if you aren't around good people in your life, if your relationships around you aren't centered properly, your wife or girlfriend, your partner you have is not well suited for you, those are all things that aren't going to shape you into being your best self. So it's very important.
Right. And have you had to learn that the hard way?
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's why it's a lesson here. And so what would be an example of some people that you used to surround yourself with and people that you currently now surround yourself with?
That's a good question, Andrew. In college, one thing I've learned about myself and being more aware of myself is I used to be a people pleaser and always trying to please everybody. And I've become much, much better with that over the years. So where I was 8-9 years ago when I was in college and starting my business out is, being in the personal training industry, I was always known as the happy guy, is always known as the guy who never had a bad day. And that's my philosophy to this day. I go to the gym and, my objective, my goal isn't just to train myself to be my best self, but to light everyone else's life up when I go there by the smile I put on or energy that I produce. And because I go really early in the morning to train, everyone usually is dragging their feet. So that's not my objective. So with that, now my circle of friends is very close, very tight. I have a mastermind group of certain select men that I talk to weekly, and they're usually people that two of them in particular I've been with now for 6-7 years. And they're actually best mans for my wedding, actually, coming up here in July. So I would say that who you surround yourself around is so critical to who you are and how you're going to evolve, because if you don't watch, and also like my fiance right now, we've had that's a very interesting story actually for the man on the phone, because we've lived apart in separate cities 4,000 miles away for 7 years. So I was in Alberta, she was in Quebec, so it was always back and forth every 3 months. And, most people absolutely never believed we could ever do it, but we did, because we have the faith and the belief that we wanted to do it. But the thing about her and a lot of the people listening is your partner in life is the most important mastermind ever. If you don't have the right partner, the right women in your life to help guide you, keep you on your feet, love you, be with you, support you, and also be there to give you constructive criticism to improve you, then it may be like a 1-year deal, but I know the person I'm with right now, will be long-term and for life, because, you need that partner in life. It's very important.
Major takeaway for a lot of guys. It's so easy to fall into a relationship that's just, she's attractive, she's good enough, there's really no reason, she's not doing anything wrong, but she's not providing some of those things that you just spoke about, with that support, that criticism to help you really grow into that man that you want to become.
Exactly, Andrew.
I think that's a key pillar. And so you said you had a list of things. Go ahead and continue on. I think I'm finding this really valuable. No
problem. Well, before I go to the list, I had one thing I wanted to mention, just one challenge that may offer some value to your listeners.
Okay.
This goes back about, I kind of share this challenge, a couple times, because it was one of the biggest obstacles we had in getting RE7 going. And it was when we had to prove ourselves, because the beverage industry is one of the most competitive industries right now in the world. And when you're launching a new drink, and even to this day, we still have to continually keep on our toes to innovate and be, improve. But when we were starting out, in one particular story is my funds were so low, I couldn't even pay for my rent or my gas. So I had to go back and basically trying to run this business and trying to make things go. And what I did with my uncle here is it took me about 4.5 weeks, but we got this list from basically all the NFL agents and trainers that were out there in the entire market. It was like 575 agents in the NFL. And our second step after we talked to this first agent was we had to call and convince these other people. I'm talking like some of the top names, like the agents of Peyton Manning, and you name it. So,
yeah, okay.
So of course, I'm sitting here in my garage and I'm trying to get myself in state to, convince these guys. So long story short, it took me 4.5 weeks to call all these people. I called a bunch of them multiple times. I think 5,000 minutes later, my aunt came to me and said, "What the heck, who are you calling for 4.5 weeks?" But we got 2 yeses. And we got tons and tons and tons of no's. Some guys, one in particular, who I won't mention his name on the phone, it still fires me to this day because he's one of the biggest agents in the NFL who's got the most players. He told me I was a complete waste of time. You Canadians up there don't know what you guys are doing. That actually got me through the other 300 agents to get through. And we finally got
Isn't that funny how that works?
It is, And it's the guy where you're kind of the most nervous giving him a call. But when I know one thing that on my list of items that I have for your listeners is state, right? And when I was back to this day, I practiced state every day for many, probably over 10 years, where in the morning I always have rituals, a lot of it from Tony Robbins, just modified a bit, but, using emotional and physical means to get myself into that means I use it with my training as well when I'm going for very, very heavy lifts or going to a big business meeting, or, I have something very important is, doing those elements. But that's sort of the one that, may resonate where faith comes in big.
Got it. This is huge. It's crazy how that situation where you call this guy and you Canadians don't know what you're doing, and that, lit a fire under you to get through the next hurdles that were coming in your business and in your development.
100%, Andrew.
How did you flip that? Because for some people, that could have destroyed them?
Well, after the phone call, I sat in there with my head down for about half of an hour.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
You know,
of course.
but then I got up and I was like, I asked myself, why am I doing this? And, what's this all for? And for me, walking in nature is so critical for my balance and my state. So I went for a walk to myself a lot when I walk, and I just talked myself into how incredible this product is to change lives. And that's the difference I really believe, and I know my business partner, Mike, is the same way. Our RE7 product, and the same with INBF, for us, yes, at the end of the day, is dollars and cents is very important. It's a critical element to your business. But even more importantly, I believe if you have a passion and if you have something that you know will make a difference in someone's life, because I know RE7 INBF does. And the same with natural bodybuilding is the same thing. When I compete, this is going to sound crazy. When I compete, I actually have more fun, not so much seeing myself on stage, meeting the people and inspiring other people to change their lives to be healthy and fit themselves. That to me is more important. And that's why my team and what I do, and with our beverage, it's about making a difference and changing lives. And if you follow that philosophy in all your business models, whether it's a beverage company, whether it's a computer-based company, or what you're doing, Andrew, like you inspire so many men out there, you're going to be successful, and it's going to be a life changer for everybody.
Yeah. There's so much more to the movement when it's something you're passionate about, and it's not being fueled by trying to get as much money as you can. But ironically, it's like when you are really pushing for something that you're passionate about, it's like the money seems to flow. I've had people literally buy stuff from me and say like, hey, I just wanted to give you money. You've helped me out a lot in my life. You've helped save my marriage. You've helped save my relationship with my partner. You've helped me grow my business. And it's like, oh, thanks. Like, I'm just doing my thing here. And people literally, those are some of the emails that I get, or sometimes people just want to coach with me just to talk and see what's going on and to give money to the movement and to really grow it so that it can scale and help more guys out there.
Exactly, Andrew. And you must find that your environment and surroundings is so critical for you too.
Oh, absolutely. It's a game changer. It is a game changer. Surrounding yourself with the right people. We've talked about this so much on the show with so many other guests, but guys listening, there's a reason why every guest or the majority of guests will say something along these lines like, hey, who you surround yourself with is so critical to your success and development. And you even brought up a good point with adding in like even your partner is critical, is just as critical as, that's the person that you're going to spend a lot of time with. So, I mean, that's going to have a huge impact on your life as well.
I actually honestly think, Andrew, it's probably the most important because you can have your mastermind buddies, and I have, my two, even though my friends, I consider them like my brothers. When I look at Jen, because I see her every day, right? 2 times, 3 times a day, even though we're working separate jobs. But when I get home and we're sitting talking about growth or the day or whatever, even the challenge for the day or the success for the day, because we always talk about something to really empower each other. That's very important for us every day. And, I've realized that mastermind is the biggest. And I learned that from actually Napoleon Hill mentioned that in his last, I was reading Law of Success, actually, one of the chapters. And he mentioned about his importance of his wife and how that mastermind is the number one mastermind, on in that element.
Absolutely. And any other lessons that you have?
I would say the only other piece I would mention, Andrew, is this piece has really helped me a ton in dealing with a lot of corporate business and, dealing with a lot of, like, especially, probably even more so in RE7 when you're growing a beverage company. And I'm a younger guy, right? So when I'm dealing with guys who are older or, large corporate people and so forth, how do you keep, as a young aspiring person in your audience, centered, balanced, fulfilled, happy? I mentioned the morning routine, but I also mentioned meditation and obviously the learning piece of it as well. But, obviously the health and fitness is very critical as well, but your journaling is very important. And I believe that, like, I probably use my journal 3 times a day, or I'll have it beside me, I'll have it in my car, I'll have it when I go to the office, I'll have it at the gym. Literally, I'm always asking myself questions in my journal to solve problems or to find a solution or to improve myself. And I find sometimes that's even more. Sometimes the answers that we have in our life aren't necessarily with somebody else or they're in a book. They're actually in ourself. And, and asking that in journaling about it, I think is really important. So that's the only last piece I wanted to add to that.
When I journal, I only journal like 3 minutes at night, like just real short and simple. But I view journaling as emptying the mind, and the same way that we go to the bathroom, like you're emptying your bladder, you're emptying your bowel, and you have to get it out. And so I feel like when I journal, I'm getting out what's in my head and putting it on paper, and I'm cleaning out my mind. I'm clearing my mind so that I can think more effectively, just the same way a mathematician would write out a massive formula on a chalkboard, because there's no way you're going to solve that in your head. Like, you need to put it out on paper. You need to be able to step back and reflect on that problem, on that challenge. Of course, if it's a simple challenge, go ahead and just, you can figure that out on your own, just like a simple math problem. But if it's a complex math problem, you got to write that out and you got to be able to solve it on paper. And so I view problems in life the same way I viewed a large math problem.
And that's so true, Andrew, because, I'm not sure if you've come across this yourself, but I noticed some of the people that I deal with on different levels, and they're going through a lot of stuff in their business or their life. I'm like, have you ever written it down on paper and just analyzed it, and looked at it from your own perspective? Just, sit, have a cup of tea, relax, write it out. And, it's amazing when you do that, how there's a sense of, like you said, emptying yourself, which I think is a great term, but really allowing that to just get out of your body, out of your chest, out of your mind, and then analyze the whole situation. Be like, you know what? I'm now more aware of why this is happening or what is happening and how can I improve it.
I do it every day. I can work 12 hours and then I'll sit down and then I'll just, do some journaling. I'll kind of reflect on kind of where I'm headed in my life or in business. And then in a matter of just like 3 to 5 minutes, I can come up with like my best idea that made and shaped my entire day, even more powerful than what I just did in the last 12 hours of kind of just being inside of the business, kind of grinding out, going through the day-to-day thing. And so, I'm even looking all around me and I have all these notebooks and just all these scribbles and stuff. And I'm like, some of my best ideas have come from just journaling for 5 minutes, and it's made all the difference.
Do you meditate as well, Andrew?
5 minutes, 10 minutes, typically in the middle of the day, where I just free to do anything I want. And a part of that is a little bit of meditation.
That's excellent. Awesome.
Yeah. It's so key to getting present and coming up with solutions to complex problems and situations, and really being able to just think clearly and be centered.
100%. It's something that, definitely, as you said, Andrew, it helps you keep centered and, more clear and even more aware of yourself. And making better decisions as, anything that you're trying to do.
Life is crazy. I mean, there's crazy stuff happening and there's a lot of uncertainty, especially just in life in general. Like, if you're alive here and you have a lot of things going on, you're trying to improve yourself, trying to build something, there's a lot of uncertainty that comes with that. And so like you said it in the beginning, you got to get your mind straight in order to really make something happen. So meditation, journaling, reading, all key things to getting your mind in the right space.
100%, Andrew, definitely. And I think that's one thing as well, even with the impact of some sort of physical fitness for the day for the listeners. I'm huge into going for my runs or my jog, or even when I'm doing my heavy weight training, I'll throw in audiobooks. I'll throw in, some heavy motivational music to really, what's actually, this is one thing that I'll add in here. It's really interesting stuff, because when you work out and train, you're increasing your endorphin release in the brain. It's pretty obvious thing. But what's interesting is if you're trying to accomplish a goal, I know you probably heard the Napoleon thing, say your goal 12 times a day, or, speak of your goal morning and night when you go to bed, or however there's some ways out there that actually teach that philosophy. But one thing, so I actually came from one of my really good friends, Sean, and I tried this and it works phenomenal, is when you're working out for your hour and you're in your absolute peak state, literally you're almost saying your goal, talking about how it's going to happen, expressing the emotions, expressing the people you're going to impact through your whole workout. You can be doing bicep curls, doing squats, and be like, you know what, I'm going to make this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make this happen. And I tried that, and it's amazing how much energy and clarity you get when you finish your training. literally you walk out of the gym almost like in this vibrational state. It's pretty powerful.
Wow. Wow. It sounds like you're big on the whole personal development, obviously. Do you go to events? I know you talked about reading, but what's your relationship with like going to live events and and applying that stuff into your life and business?
Absolutely a necessity. I attend live events every year, multiple live events. I'm always buying books. I don't read them all, but I'm always definitely reading every day. One of the things I believe that I've actually been doing a lot more recently is work programs. Like, for example, I've got the entire Robbins series. I've got that all, basically went through that a couple of times. The Bob Proctor, the Brian Tracy, a lot of other Darren Hardy's programs. There's been quite a few actually. And I find when you use all your senses in your personal development, you actually comprehend and take information more deeply. So if all you do is just read, you're only getting, one of your senses. But if you can listen, read, apply, teach, extract, watch it on video, be at the event, use all your senses of personal development, that's when you can actually get the full enhancement. Because I've read a book and I'll be like, go back and I'll highlight a couple things and be like, oh, I forgot what that guy meant. But if I'm actually speaking it, like I'll actually it's funny, I'll read a book, take a picture of a page I like, and I'll text to my mastermind buddy or my fiance and be like, hey, look at this page. And when they get home, we'll talk about it for like half an hour. So it's using all your senses to get the most out of it.
And do you invest in coaching?
I do, yes. I invest in coaching. I have a few different, as far as a coach that I only have one right now that I actually would pay as a coach. I have other that we do exchange coaching because I also help coach other men and we go back and forth and we help each other out. So, and we do mastermind things as well.
Yeah. What's interesting is like sometimes these are common things that are seen over and over and over again. So I'm just encouraging other guys listening to like, hey, pursue these things that work. Because I just see such a huge similarity, like common themes amongst people who are, really going after what they want in life and making it happen. And so just wanted to point that out for a lot of the listeners. It's like, hey, meditation, journaling, reading, it's not hocus pocus. It's these things work. These things get you the result and they help you achieve more and really get what you want in life, whether that be in health, wealth, or business, career, entrepreneurship, relationships, and your own personal development. So this is good.
Well, the thing is, Andrew, too, I think is the person coaching that other person. For example, if you're coaching me or you're coaching another guy on the phone or whoever, you have a deep passion for it. And that's the beauty of coaches is I don't think I've found a coach yet that I've worked with in the past, even the ones that we exchange, where they don't have an immense amount of passion to help people. Yeah. And that's the beauty is if you're helping people, and there's power behind that.
Good. So let's now jump into the knowledge round here, Matthew. So are you ready for the knowledge round?
Let's go ahead, man.
All right.
The father of personal development, Jim Rohn, said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And so I've created a mastermind community called the Lion's Den around this idea that if you are surrounded by high-performing people and you have consistent education and training, then you will succeed in life and as a man. Check out kfmlion.com to learn how the Lion's Den can take your life, relationships, and business to the next level. Again, that's kfmlion.com. Do you feel stuck, alone, or like you're not getting the type of results you think you deserve? You put in all the hard work in your life, relationships, and business, but things just aren't getting any better? I've been there. That's how I started. That's where I was. I kept trying to improve my life, but nothing just seemed to give. I started to think that personal development was a joke. I felt like every month I was in the same place I was the previous month. But then I found something that just worked. I grew, my business grew, my relationships flourished, and everything around me just started to click. People started respecting me more, and I finally felt like I was becoming the man I wanted to be. I created a program to help guys get the same results in their life. Check out kfmlion.com to learn how the Lion's Den can radically transform your life. Again, that's kfmlion.com. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
And my first question is, what advice would you give to someone who's feeling lost or unsure of their purpose?
Unsure of their purpose is to ask the right questions. sit down, ask the right questions, and get around the right people. Usually the people who are having an issue with where they're at is because, number one, look at your environment. Number two is find out where you want to go. And what I mean by that is ask yourself the question, where do I want to go on paper? Write the question out and write everything down that comes to mind. Ask yourself, what do you want to achieve? What's my things in life that I love to do? What don't I want to do? What things do I see myself doing in the next 3 years? And if you do those two things, I really believe they'll help you out big time.
Very good. And what was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
I would say, as funny as it is, sometimes holding me back is sometimes actually it's fear. Sometimes it's, when you take on real big goals sometimes, especially when it comes to corporate side, there can be a sense of what happens if, what doesn't work out properly. And I think to myself now is I've conditioned myself where I get myself in state and I just basically go for it and tell myself, you know what, if it fails, so what? It's an opportunity. I can always make adjustments and move from there.
Okay. And can you name a person who's had a tremendous impact on your life, like a mentor? If you could share with us a specific moment where he or she gave you some powerful piece of advice.
Well, I actually have three, and I'll mention all three of their names because I think it's important.
Okay.
My first one is obviously my uncle, Mike, who's been a big influence to me. My second, who is one of my main mastermind buddies, is Sean Stewart, and my third is Michael Rosmer. So I would say those three people have really been influential to me growing up and just where I am today. And especially Sean and Michael Rosmer, they're very, they really push me. We always have these constructive sessions where we're not in there to hurt someone's feelings. We actually genuinely care and love how we want to, all of us to succeed. We help all of us kind of grow together.
Got it. And let's dive into, let's say, 2 or 3 of your most influential books and why.
I would say the first one is The Laws of Success with Napoleon Hill. That one and would be a big one. And I've gone through that book once already. I'm going through it again here. And I've noticed that book, even though it's really old, there's so many key points that really help the essence of really understand yourself and what Napoleon was trying to do in writing that material. So that's kind of the first book I would say was big influence for me. The second, I would say there's quite a few books. I'm just trying to think of nail it down just to 2 or 3 here. I would say the second is probably Unleash the Power Within with Anthony Robbins. Awaken the Giant Within actually was the book. Unleash the Power was a seminar. So Awaken the Giant Within definitely is one of my second top books, understanding the emotional states and so forth of the person. And that book, what I really like about Tony's work is compared to, for example, Napoleon. Napoleon's is very black and white, where Anthony's is more of an emotional, understanding your belief systems in your mind, your brain. So there's a big difference in clarity between the two books. And the third, this book is a much more basic and simple book to read, but his philosophies, I just love his philosophies from Bob Proctor. And I would say You Were Born Rich, Bob Proctor. I really believe when it comes to the mind out there today that Bob, even though his philosophies are so easy and simple, that book is, and between him and The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles, I really find that those are really cornerstone materials for knowing how the mind works and how to achieve what you want.
Wow. Okay. These classic books sometimes are just the ones that need to be read over and over and over again. And it's like you can read them over and over again and you'll pick up something new every time.
100%.
All right. And so scenario here for you, Matthew. So imagine you had 60 seconds with your 20-year-old self. What would you tell him to do, and what would you tell him not to do?
I would tell him to go for what he wants, his passion, his heart, and whatever he comes across in his life, whatever person that says you can't do it, you absolutely go for it no matter what. You follow your heart and your dreams. And I tell myself what not to do. You don't ever settle for second best in yourself. Don't ever, whatever you do, listen to your intuition, listen to what your gut's telling you, and listen to where you're supposed to go, because God gave you the gifts in your life for a reason. And those are the gifts you're supposed to go out there to make the most out of yourself.
Very good. Very good. Getting moved over here in my chair. And anything you tell them not to do?
Is don't be a people pleaser, Matt. And do not be the person out there that when I was, just really be who you want to be, and be the person that, like, follow your heart, follow what you want, follow your gut, your intuition, and do not go out there and some of what other people actually are telling you or wanting you to do, and follow what you want to do.
Wow, it's good. It's good. Even if you need to summarize some of your main points here, what would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
Be your unique self is my philosophy. Is keep life simple. Don't make it complex. Be very present with who you are. Be grateful every single day. Being grateful means you're going to crush fear in its tracks. And I would say that meditate and journal and read and learn all the time on a daily basis. I would say that I really believe that connecting with your higher self through nature is so critical. So part of the formula for success is, if you're always working 12, 14 hours a day in front of a computer, on the phone, or whatever, get in front of the nature, get with the ocean, get with the trees, get with the ground, and you're going to feel your spirit reconnect and revitalize.
Yeah, there is something so powerful about being in nature where it just feels like very, I almost want to say, like, it just feels like home in some cases. Like it just feels, I don't know, like it just catches you. I live here in San Diego. I live right here on the beach. And every time I go out there, I'm always like, I work in my apartment here, and then I'm just like in here 12 hours. And then I step outside. I'm just like, it just like hits me every time when I just step into the sand. I'm like, wow. Like, so it's just so like powerful and so like vast. And I don't know, it's every time I step out there, it just feels, I feel connected to it.
I totally agree with you, Andrew, 100%.
All right, that's going to conclude the knowledge round there. So, Matthew, you got so many great things going for you right now, and still so young. What's really exciting you? What's getting you out of bed in the morning? What are you looking forward to?
Right now, I'm looking forward to the next step in my life, which I'm going to be. I do a lot of speaking engagements right now and doing public speaking, but I'm working on releasing and starting to do my next steps in my career. Because RE7 is starting to really kick off for us. INBF's kicking off. Both of the companies are something that I've put a lot of work and time in over the years. And now one of my big passions in life, and it's funny to say this because, most people, when they say, what are you most scared of? If people would say public speaking or dying. And, the first person would say public speaking. And it's funny because it's going to sound really strange, Andrew, but I have no fear for speaking. In fact, I thrive for it. I absolutely, I can't wait to get on a stage to help people and change lives. And that's one of my true passions, is getting on a stage and really talking and inspiring people. So that'll be my next stage coming up here, I would say, in the next 8 to 10 months, is I'm launching my seminars and some of my products based on what I've learned over the years. And I just can't wait. I'm actually itching, telling you right now, to get on there and start to help and get that out there.
I could tell that you're really excited about that. And it's, your story is incredible, and it's only continuing to grow. I'm looking forward to seeing a book with your name on it, Matthew. This has been really good. Go ahead and give yourself a plug on how the audience can kind of connect with your brands or your social media.
Sure. The first thing is RE7. So you can go to drinkre7.com as our beverage. It's a new category of drink. And right now we're in Walmart's Canada. We aren't in the US yet, but we're in Walmart's Canada and also in Federated Co-op grocery stores in Canada. So we'll be in the US very soon. But you can go to drinkre7.com and also our social media platforms. And my second is INBF Canada. So INBFCanada.com. It's a Canadian-based natural fitness competition, so you can do the same thing with that on our website. And personally, you can connect to me through my basically online at Matthew Park WNBF Pro on my Facebook page or my fan page. I'd be happy to connect with anybody out there.
All right. Matthew, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your story, being vulnerable, and your wisdom and philosophy here with my community. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, and I really appreciate it very much. You take care, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and 1 million downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we've just started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a review in iTunes. It really helps to grow the podcast. Guys, 2015 is the official year of living with purpose, where every day you do only the things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. Check out kfmfree.com to get free tools I've created to help you crush life. Again, that's kfmfree.com. This is your host, Andrew Fairby, and I'll see you in the next episode.